will take on the Panthers of Gabon today, this evening, Thursday, November 13th, by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. That's when they will play. 5 p.m. Nigerian time. What a game we have today. Is the first match of the CAF playoff. That's for the 2026 World Cup playoff. Is the first match between Nigeria and Gabon. Later today by 8 p.m., Cameroon will take on DR Congo. What a match that is today as well. But the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Panthers of Gabon will play the first match of the day. Don't forget, this is the CAF playoff. It is the 2026 FIFA World Cup CAF playoff. And then we have a match in our hands today. We really have a match. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have been to 6 World Cups. They participated in 6 World Cups. They were at the USA in 1994. They were in France 1998. They were in Korea, Japan in 2002. They were in South Africa in 2010. They were in Brazil in 2014. And they were in Russia in 2018. So, will they qualify for the World Cup this time around? We'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll see what happens. Only time will tell whether the Super Eagles will qualify for the World Cup. Time will tell. But then, we have a match today in our hand. We really have a match. Don't forget that the Super Eagles of Nigeria missed out of the last World Cup in Qatar. They missed out after they lost to Ghana on away goal rules. You know, the Blasters of Ghana and Nigeria, the last qualifiers, played a goalless draw in Accra. Then when the Ghanaians came, the match ended in a 1-1 draw. Nigeria scored and Ghana scored. But due to the away goal rule or away goals rule, the Black Stars of Ghana picked the ticket ahead of Nigeria. So that was how Nigeria missed out of the last edition of the World Cup. But this time around, they qualify for the World Cup. We really have a game in our hands today. And the Super Eagles of Nigeria, as I said, have been to the World Cup 6 times. For Gabon, they have never been to the World Cup. Gabon have never qualified for the World Cup. And in these qualifiers, they missed out on automatic qualification. Narrowly, they missed out narrowly on automatic qualification because they were in the same group with Ivory Coast and they were second in the group. They finished second in the group with 25 points. Ivory Coast on their side finished first with 26 points. So you could see that, I mean, you could see that Gabon missed narrowly out of automatic qualification. And then in the qualifiers, Gabon have been impressive. In the World Cup qualifiers, they've really been impressive. They scored 22 goals and they conceded 9 goals. And then in their match, in the match they played, in their ninth match on match day 9, Gabon defeated Gambia 4-3. And Aubameyang, the veteran himself, who has been a former player of Chelsea and Arsenal, scored 4 goals in that match when they defeated Gambia on match day 9. Gabon defeated Gambia 4-3. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored 4 goals for Gabon in that match. So, you know, we really have a match today. I'm talking about Gabon. I said that they have never been to the World Cup. But of course, they've been to the Nations Cup 8 times. Gabon have been to the Nations Cup 8 times. They've even gotten to the quarterfinals of the Africa Cup of Nations. But they are yet to qualify for the World Cup. They have never been to the World Cup. So what a game we have today between Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and Gabon. The match will be played by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. For the Super Eagles of Nigeria, in the first round of the qualifiers, they were in Group C, alongside the likes of South Africa, Lesotho, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and Benin Republic. And then on the very last day, before the last match was played, before match day 10, you know, we didn't know the team that would qualify. Fine, some teams had their destiny in their hands, like Benin Republic had their destiny in their hand before the match against Nigeria. All they needed to do was just defeat Nigeria. That was all they needed to do in that match. But then they lost to Nigeria by 4-0. South Africa that picked the ticket to the World Cup on the last day, on match day 10, they didn't have their destiny on their hands, because on that day they relied, because if the Super Eagles of Nigeria had lost to Benin Republic, it would be Benin that would have qualified ahead of South Africa. If the Super Eagles had lost to Benin, Benin would have qualified ahead of South Africa. But then the Super Eagles of Nigeria defeated Benin Republic, and South Africa also defeated Rwanda, and so the Bafana of South Africa picked the sole ticket from that group. So as a result, they've qualified for the World Cup. I'm talking about Nigeria. In our match against Benin, we needed to score 4 goals in that match, and the Super Eagles really scored the 4 goals. They scored 4 goals in that match. And if they can really exhibit that kind of fighting spirit in today's match against Gabon, you know, they should be able to go fight. They can exhibit that kind of fighting spirit. But talking about that, you know, just on Tuesday, we heard that the players of the Super Eagles players boycotted training. They didn't train on Tuesday due to unpaid allowances and bonuses, you know. So because of that, they didn't train on Tuesday. But then that has been settled now, because according to the captain of the team, William Chris Ekong, you know, those balances and those bonuses and unpaid allowances have been settled. And so they actually trained yesterday, and then we look forward to a very good match today between Nigeria and Gabon. We really look forward to a cracker of a match between the two teams. As I said, Gabon in the World Cup qualifiers won 8 matches. They won 8 matches. They lost 1 match and they drew 1 match. And the only country in that group that defeated Gabon was Ivory Coast. And don't forget, Ivory Coast picked the sole ticket for the World Cup. They picked the sole tickets to the World Cup from that group. So they were the only team that defeated Gabon. Even the draw Gabon played, because they played. There was they lost. They lost to Ivory Coast in one of the matches. They lost to Ivory Coast by 1-0, and in another match in the reverse fixture, they played a goalless draw. So it's really been between them and Ivory Coast in that group. In Group F, it's really been between Ivory Coast and Gabon. I'm talking about Gabon. They really got fantastic players like Aubameyang that I mentioned earlier, who is the top scorer for Gabon. They have scored 39 goals for Gabon in 38 appearances, and in the World Cup qualifiers, Aubameyang has also scored 6 goals. That's talking about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. They also have Dennis Bwanga. Don't forget that Dennis Bwanga also for Los Angeles Lakers for Los Angeles FC in the MLS. That's the Major League Soccer. Has been in a terrific form. He has been scoring goals, and then recently he was selected as one of the 2025 MLS Best 11. So he was in the 2025 Best 11 in the MLS. That's the Major League Soccer. So that's talking about Dennis Bwanga. So Gabonese players, they've really been trying, and in the World Cup qualifiers, they've really proven that they can win matches and they can score goals. Now, as I said, the Super Eagles of Nigeria were in the USA 1994 World Cup, they were in the France 1998 World Cup, they were in Korea, Japan in 2002, they were also in South Africa in 2010, they were in Brazil in 2014, and they were in Russia in 2018, but they were not in Qatar at the last edition. So this time around, the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualify for the World Cup. I'm talking about qualifying for the World Cup. They have to win today. They have to win Gabon. Regardless of the scoreline of the match, they just have to win. Victory is important for them in this match, because failing to win this match will mean that the World Cup hopes are over. I mean, that, God forbid, I'm just saying that. But failing to win that match, that's what it means. So they have to go for an outright win today. They have to win this match. Victory is the only thing needed in this match. It's the only thing needed in today's match. And if they win today's match, they will go ahead to play. Don't forget, I said at 8 p.m. Nigerian time today in the night, 8 p.m. Nigerian time, Cameroon will take on DR Congo. So the winner of the match between Nigeria and Gabon will take on the winner of the match between Cameroon and DR Congo on this Sunday. So after that, they will pick the sole representative from Africa to the playoffs, to the intercontinental playoffs. And for the intercontinental playoff, it will take place next year match. It will hold next year match. And then talking about playoffs, looking at these playoffs, I mean, in the way the playoffs were made, talking about the African playoffs, it was done in such a way that the highest ranked teams played against the lowest ranked team, and the second ranked team played against the third ranked team. That's the way it was done. Look at Nigeria. Now take a look at Nigeria. The Super Eagles of Nigeria are ranked 41 in the world, and Gabon are ranked 77th in the world. And then amongst all the 4 countries, talk about Gabon, Cameroon, and DR Congo, Nigeria is the most ranked country. They are 41 in the world, and Gabon are the least, they are the lowest ranked team amongst these 4 countries. So as a result, they've been paired together. So the first or the best ranked team was paired with the lowest ranked team, and the second ranked team was paired with the third ranked team. So, and that's how we got to today's fixtures. Now, looking at the Interconfederation playoff, after today's match, we are going to be talking about the Interconfederation playoff, which will hold next year. It will hold in North America next year. That's talking about the Interconfederation playoff. The playoff will join, any team that wins today now, as in the playoff winner, talking about today's playoff winner, will join Bolivia, because Bolivia and New Caledonia have already qualified for the Interconfederation playoff. They've already qualified. Bolivia they are from CONMEBOL. Bolivia is from South America, and New Caledonia is from Oceania. So the 2 teams have already qualified. So the winner of this playoff, I'm talking about the CAF playoff, the winner of the CAF playoff will join Bolivia, New Caledonia. They also join 1 team from Asia and 2 from CONCACAF in the Interconfederation playoff. So to make 6 teams. So there will be 6 teams in the Interconfederation playoff. So when they get to the Interconfederation playoff, the best ranked 2 teams will just, like people say, they will just chill, a bit. They just wait a bit. I'm talking about the best ranked 2 teams now. They will just wait a bit, and then the 4 bottom ranked teams will play each other in a semi-final format. They will tackle each other. That's the 4 bottom ranked teams. So the two winners now, the two winners will not play against the two winners of the match. I mean, they will not play against the two highly ranked teams. So in all, we have two teams qualifying from the interconfederation playoff. In all, two teams will qualify from the intercontinental playoff. So that's the way it is now. So we want to wish the Super Eagles of Nigeria all the best in today's match. We really want to wish them all the best in this match. Talking about Gabon, the name of the head coach of Gabon is Thierry Muyuma. That's the name of the head coach of Gabon, Thierry Muyuma. And he's a former international. He's a former international defender, as in he played for Gabon at a time. So he's a former international. He played as a defender for Gabon. That's talking about Thierry Muyuma. And then, as I said earlier, I said Gabon missed out on automatic qualification. They were almost there, It was just 1 point between them and Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast have already qualified, but it was just a point that separated them from Ivory Coast. So they missed narrowly, and then as a result, they are going to be playing Nigeria today in this match. And then, of course, Gabon have got players like Mbamba, Avalanche, Manga, Onfia, Bemba, Lemina. Remember, Lemina is Victor Osimhen's teammate in Galatasaray. I'll get to that anyway. There's also Konga, Undong, Obiang, Dennis Bwanga, and of course Aubameyang himself, the veteran himself. Aubameyang has got the experience when it comes to Gabon. He's seen it all. He's their top scorer with 39 goals. Aside being their top scorer with 39 goals, he was once with Chelsea. He was once with Arsenal as well. And we saw his exploits with those clubs. And in this World Cup qualifier, as I said, Gabon has scored 22 goals. They've conceded 9 goals. They've won 8 matches. They've drawn 1 match, and they have lost 1 match. What's a record? Very impressive record. Winning 8 matches out of 10. That's a very, very impressive record by Gabon. They won 8 matches out of 10, and they scored 22 goals, conceded 9 goals. And then in their last 4 matches in the World Cup qualifiers, Gabon also scored 10 goals. They scored 10 goals in their last 4 matches, and 4 of those goals were scored by Aubameyang in a particular match. I mentioned it earlier. I said on match day 9, when Gabon took on Gambia. It was a really keenly contested match. The match ended 4-3 between Gabon and Gambia on match day 9. And Aubameyang scored all the 4 goals for Gabon in that match. He was so prolific, scoring 4 goals. And that's what he does. He knows how to score goals. He's a top striker anytime, any day. That's talking about Aubameyang. So, and then looking at the head-to-head record between Nigeria and Gabon on match. Excuse me, please. Sorry. Nigeria and Gabon have met each other they met each other 5 times. They met each other more than 5 times. But I'm looking at their last 5 meetings now. In the last 5 meetings between Nigeria and Gabon, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have recorded 2 wins over Gabon, and there have been 3 draws between them. The Super Eagles have recorded 2 wins, and there have been 3 draws between them. So let me break down the head-to-head record between Nigeria and the Panthers of Gabon. They met each other in 2005, March 25, 2005. That was the last time they met, actually, in the World Cup qualifier, and Nigeria won that match by 2-0. Nigeria defeated Gabon 2-0 in that match in the World Cup qualifier. They also met. They met on October 9, 2004, and they played a 1-1 draw. It was Gabon 1, Nigeria 1. It was also in the World Cup qualifier. It was a World Cup qualifier in 2009. In 2004, in October 9. So the match ended 1-1. They also met in 1999. Nigeria and Gabon met in 1999 in a friendly match, and the match ended 1-1 between Nigeria and Gabon. They also met in 1994 in AFCON, that's the African Cup of Nations, in 1994, and Nigeria defeated Gabon by 3-0 in that match. And then they met in 1983. March 2, 1983, and it was a goalless draw between Nigeria and Gabon. So once again, let me just read out the head-to-head record between Nigeria and Gabon. The last time Nigeria and Gabon played against each other was in 2005 in a World Cup qualifier where Nigeria defeated Gabon 2-0. They met in 2004, October 9, 2004, and the match ended in a 1-1. The match ended in a 1-1 draw. In the World Cup qualifier. They also met in 1999, and it also ended in a 1-1 draw between Gabon and Nigeria. That was a friendly match. They met in 1994, and Nigeria defeated them by 3-0. That was Nigeria's biggest defeat over Gabon in 1994 in the World Cup qualifier. It ended 3-0, and they met in 1983. The match ended. Sorry, I have to sit down. They also met in They met in 1983, and the match ended goalless. So that's been the head-to-head record between Nigeria and Gabon. Now, looking at Gabon matches in the World Cup qualifiers, Gabon won 8 matches, they drew 1 match, and they lost 1 match. So Gabon's matches in the World Cup qualifiers, Gabon defeated Kenya. That was their first match in the World Cup qualifier. The first match Gabon played in the World Cup qualifier was against Kenya, and they won that match by 2-1. That was their first match. Their second match was against Burundi. They defeated Burundi away from home 2-1. They defeated Burundi. Then their third match was against Ivory Coast. They lost to Ivory Coast by 1-0. Ivory Coast hosted them in that match, and they lost to Ivory Coast by 1-0. Their fourth match was against Gambia. They defeated Gambia 3-2. Then their fifth match was against Seychelles. Gabon defeated Seychelles 3-0. Then their sixth match was against Kenya. Gabon defeated Kenya 2-1. Then they also met Seychelles again. That was on match day 7, and they defeated Seychelles by 4-0. Then their 8th match was against Ivory Coast, and they played a goalless draw with Ivory Coast. And then on match day 9, Gabon defeated Gambia by 4-3. And Aubameyang scored 4 goals for Gabon in that match. And on match day 10, they defeated Burundi 2-0. So Gabon have really been in a terrific form in the World Cup qualifiers. If you are just joining me, welcome to the show. I'm doing the preview. I'm doing the match preview of the match between Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and the Panthers of Gabon. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will take on Gabon today by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. That's when the match will be played, 5 p.m. Nigerian time. The boys return to training. They've returned to training after all their unpaid allowances, and then all the bonuses were settled. So they've returned to training, and then as it is now, they are business-like, and we have a match today. What a match is going to be between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Gabon. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have been to the World Cup 6 times, but Gabon have never been to the World Cup. Gabon have never qualified for the World Cup. They are yet to qualify for the World Cup. I'm talking about Nigeria. They've been to the World Cup 6 times, but then the best result they've achieved at the World Cup was getting to the round of 16, and that was at the USA 94 World Cup. They also got to the round of 16 at the France 98 World Cup, and they got to the round of 16 in Brazil in 2014. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria have been to the round of 16 3 times in USA 94, France 98, and Brazil 2014. And today they are going to be playing against Gabon. So, are they really going to go to the will the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualify for the World Cup? To be or not to be, only time will tell. We keep our fingers crossed and we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But looking at their last performance against Benin, if that's anything to look at, then the Super Eagles should really be able to do well in today's match. If they can exhibit the same fighting spirit, the same character, the same cohesion, the same fluidity that saw them defeat Benin 4-0, if they can do that today again, then they should be able to win today. But then, no team is to be underrated. They cannot even afford to underrate any team at this stage, because Gabon can never be underrated. Look at their performance in the World Cup qualifiers. They won 8 matches. They drew 1. They lost 1. They scored 22 goals, conceded 9 goals. A team that scored 22 goals, including scoring 4 goals in matches, 4 goals, 3 goals in matches. Such a team should not be underrated. And apart from that, they really got the players that can make a difference for them. That's talking about Gabon. They really got the players that can make a difference for them. So we have a game today. Now, looking at the matches the Super Eagles of Nigeria played in the World Cup qualifiers, our first match was against Lesotho. We played a 1-0 draw with Lesotho in our first match. It was in Nigeria here. Our second match was against Zimbabwe, away from home. We played a 1-0 draw. Our third match was against South Africa, Bafana. We played a 1-0 draw. Our fourth match was against Benin Republic. They defeated us 2-1. Our fifth match was against Rwanda, and that was away from home, and we defeated Rwanda 2-0. Our sixth match was against Zimbabwe. We played a 1-0 draw with Zimbabwe. Our seventh match was against Rwanda. We defeated Rwanda 1-0 in Nigeria here. Our eighth match was against South Africa, away from home. And what a match that was! What a match! And with Calvin Bassey scoring the only goal for Nigeria in that match, the Bafana scored the first goal. They were the first to score. Then okay, so it was even an own goal. Like Second scored an own goal. Then Calvin Bassey scored for Nigeria in that match. And ninth match was against Lesotho, and we defeated Lesotho 2-1 away from home. And then in that match as well, towards the end of the match, Lesotho, they were nearly equalizing. Towards the end of the match, they were nearly equalizing, but then but then we won the match by 2-1. And in our last match against Benin, was the best match the Super Eagles of Nigeria played in this qualifiers. Aside from the fact that that was the best, aside from the fact that they scored 4 goals in that match, what made it a very interesting match was the fact that there was a time when Osimhen was about to be substituted in that match, and then we were still 3 goals up in that match when Osimhen was leaving, and we needed to score 4 goals. Like when I was watching the match, there was this kind of belief because of the way the Super Eagles played in that match. I had this kind of belief that we were going to score the 4th goal because they really gelled, like they really flowed, the fluidity was so much, the cohesion, they gelled in that match, that even when Osimhen was going out, because Osimhen scored the hat-trick in that match, he scored 3 goals, he scored the hat-trick, so when he was being substituted, I did not have any doubt that we were going to score. I knew that one of the players on the field were going to score because the tempo of that match was so fine, was so beautiful, like they were really flowing very well. So when it was coming out, I knew that Nigeria would score the 4th goal. So it was our best match in the qualifier so far. So if the Super Eagles of Nigeria can take a cue from that match and they can show that kind of fighting spirit again and commitment they showed in that match, then they should be able to win today's match. If they are determined, with determination, anything can happen. Nigeria has the talent, no doubt. We have the talent. Look at Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen presently in the Champions League chart, is the highest goal scorer presently in the 2025-2026 Champions League chart. Is the highest goal scorer with 6 goals, and he has only played in 3 matches in the Champions League. Osimhen has only featured in 3 matches in the Champions League, and is the highest goal scorer with 6 goals. He's ahead of the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Harry Kane, and even Erling Haaland. Mbappe, Erling Haaland, and Harry Kane have 5 goals each. Osimhen has 6 goals. So whether Nigeria has the talent or not, that's not a doubt. We've got the talent. Talking about talent is not. We can't doubt our talent. We are so talented. Talking about Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria are so talented. So that's not even a question. But the bone of contention now should be whether they can really deliver today. Like if they really want to play, they can play. We saw them against Benin. They decided to bring in their A game. They decided to raise their game, and we saw it. And the funny thing about the match against Benin, was that before the match, even Benin were the favourites to win that match because they were ahead in the group. They were ahead of South Africa on goal difference. They were ahead of Nigeria. They were really ahead in the group. So they were the clear favourites to win that match against Nigeria. They were coming as the clear favourites. Even when we were playing at home, they were coming as the clear favourites. But that's one thing about Nigeria. When you have lost hope in our Super Eagles or in any of the Nigerian teams, when you have given up that they can't really do well, that's when they bring in their A game. And that was what happened that day. Because we were not even the favourites to win that match. But what happened? The Super Eagles of Nigeria got into the game, they brought in their A game, and they came to party that day, and we really saw 4 goals. We saw Osimhen scoring 3 goals, and we saw Frank Onyeka scoring that beautiful volley. So the Super Eagles of Nigeria against Benin Republic, that has been the best game by the Super Eagles of Nigeria so far. So we want them to replicate that kind of performance today. They have to start well today. They have to start well in today's match. There's no room for being, I don't want to use some words, they just have to get their rhythm, get into the game and start. Because mistakes cannot be made in this match. We cannot afford to make mistakes in this match. I'm talking about today's match. They're going to be making use of VAR. That's the video assistant referee, and we're going to get to see the VAR in use. Apart from that, like the rules that came out, like during normal regulation time, 5 substitutes are allowed, and then in the extra time, they can actually allow 1 more substitute. Then if the match ends in a stalemate, Gabon finished with Ivory Coast finished with 26 points. Gabon finished with 25 points. Ivory Coast scored 25 goals. Gabon scored 22 goals. So Ivory Coast won 8 matches and they drew 2 matches. Gabon won 8 matches, drew 1 match, and lost 1 match. So it was really a close score between Gabon and Ivory Coast. It was really close. So and in the group as well, they also had other things like Gambia, Kenya, Burundi, and Seychelles, and then Ivory Coast